Hey, so good afternoon and welcome to Jake's Journey. And as I sort of alluded to maybe a bit early on my 2 o'clock broadcast, Jake's not able to join us today. So Jake's been a bit under the weather, so hopefully he's feeling a bit better. But um, do me a favour, just let me know where you're watching from and put any comments or questions that you may have in the comments box below. Because what I'm going to do is, Jake and Jake's mum Donna Rice and myself have been running a masterclass, which is it's been a 5-week workshop that we've been running on this subject. Excuse me. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, by John Maxwell. And this is one of John's books that he's got a teen version and he's got obviously the adult version. So we've been running a mastermind workshop for 5 weeks, and it's designed for, let's call it, tweens and teens, so 10 to 18-year-olds, but also for their parents and their grandparents. And say we did have one family where we had a 12-year-old who had her parents and her grandparents, right, all on this 5-week masterclass. And it was the first time we've done it, so there were some things that we learned. And again, as this book says, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. All right, and John crosses out lose and replaces it with learn, because losses are learning opportunities, and that's the way we want to look at it, and that's what we want to help you with. So we will be opening up another masterclass. This one we're going to do is 6 weeks. All right. The reason for that, there's 13 chapters in this book, and in the 5-week masterclass we basically got through 10, but a little bit of chapters 11, 12 and 13, but it's too much to go through in 5 weeks to do it properly. So we're going to do it over 6 weeks. So if you and your children or grandchildren are interested in joining that, watch out for registration details coming up, or put your comments in the below and say, I'm interested. And what I'll do is I'll send you the details as soon as we have finalised the start date and the times. Let's say it's going to be 6 weeks. The calls are about an hour and a quarter. Some of them have gone a little bit over to an hour and a half. And say in this upcoming masterclass there'll be 6 weeks. Okay. So for the registration fee, we actually include a copy of the adult book and a copy of the teen book, plus we give you another copy of the teen book that we ask you to donate to a school of your choice in the name of Jake's Journey. So I just want to touch on a couple of things, and I'll pretend to be Jake. All right. So I'm a bit older than Jake, not quite as good looking, but you'll have to put up with me today. So in our masterclass on Thursday, Jake talked about the fact that winning isn't everything, but learning is. And it's interesting because the concept of where he was going with that and what John talks about is that, do we learn from our wins? A lot of us don't. A lot of us just take that win and say, okay, that was great. But we should be learning from that. We should be looking at it and saying, okay, so we won, but what can we do better? Right? I follow this guy, obviously, not this guy, Walt Disney, right? And Walt Disney would used to say that he wants to keep plussing things. So Plussing, plussing. So basically it means he wanted to keep adding to things to make it better. So it's never settling for what you've got. Right? Now there's a saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And again, I used to believe in that saying. I used to go along with that. But as my thinking has expanded, that's a very narrow-minded, almost defeatist sort of attitude, because it's saying that we're okay with that. We're okay with the status quo. We don't want to improve. The problem is, if we don't improve, what are we going to get? What we've always got. Now, change is the one constant in our lives. It's something that happens whether we like it or not. So we need to embrace it. We need to make things better. So learning is important. You learn from your losses, but you can also learn from your wins. You will learn more from your losses, to be honest, because when you're losing, you're actually stretching yourself. And when you're stretching yourself, you're growing. Jake also talked about maturity and how you can learn and apply. So learn things and then apply them to your life. It's about acting on what you are learning and applying it in your life, right? Not taking it for granted. So again, knowledge, people say knowledge is power. No, it isn't. Knowledge is only power when you use it. Right? You can know something, but if you never use it, what good is it? So understand what's going on. Another saying that experience is what we learn from. And again, it isn't. Evaluated experience is what we learn from. Okay, you can experience something, but again, if you never do anything about it, if you never change it, if you never learn from it, what's the use? So when you look at an experience, whether it was good or whether it was bad, review it. Analyze it. Look at what went well, what didn't go well. I added to this and say that I'm a proponent of daily reflection. And what I mean by that is that I encourage people to reflect daily on what's happened to them. So write down, actually on paper. All right? I use paper now. So write down on paper what happened during the day. What went well? What didn't go quite so well? And then evaluate all of those experiences. So if something went well, what did you learn from it? How can you duplicate that and replicate it in other actions to keep improving in those areas? If it didn't go well, why didn't it go well? What obstacles did you face? What could you have done differently? And what can you do differently in the future? And you see, the thing is, if you're writing these things down and then you're reviewing them at the end of the week, and then at the end of the month, you're reviewing each of your weekly ones, and at the end of the quarter, you're reviewing your monthly ones, and so on, 6 monthly and annually, what you'll find is you'll find patterns, and you'll find things that you can work on and you can keep improving. And if you keep improving, you're growing. That's how you learn, by evaluating those experiences. The other thing I would recommend in your daily reflection is looking at what are you grateful for that day, even if it's one thing. Right? You may have made a difference to one person. Somebody may have made a difference to you. You may have achieved something that you've been working on for a while. Doesn't matter what it is, big or small, it's an achievement and something that you're grateful for. Jot it down. Otherwise, we tend to forget. The thing with change is that you need to, and I have a little bit of a challenge sometime with this, because there's a saying you need to give up to go up. I don't think you always have to give up something. Right? Yes, sometimes you may have to sacrifice something in order to gain. But giving will also help you to grow. It's about remaining humble. The other way we learn, in fact the only way we learn and grow, is to move out of our comfort zone. Remember that saying, if we always do what we've always done, we'll always get what we've always got. That's staying in your comfort zone. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. It's not going to happen. Well, you may get the odd time when something happens, but it won't be sustainable. So move out of your comfort zone. One of the things Jake talked about was being prepared to change your friends to find others who want to grow too. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to dismiss those friends that don't want to grow. But as Jim Rohn says, we become the average of the 5 people we spend most time with. So if you want to grow, you need to spend time with people that are also looking to grow. You need to spend time with people that are going to stretch you and help you to be the best version of yourself. So think about that in your life. Do you need to spend more time with a certain set of people and less time with other sets of people? Probably, if you want to grow. And then the last thing I'll leave you with today is Jake's Daily 5. Okay, so these are 5 things that Jake does every day. Exercise. Okay, exercise is keeping your body active, keeping your body fit. Fuel. Now, he doesn't drink gasoline, but what he does is he has a protein shake. Right? Again, it's all about it keeping your body healthy and keeping it energized so that you can do the things you need to do. He writes every day. Jake uses a journal. Now, this could be the same thing as your reflection, okay? This is just writing down what's happened during the day. What have you learned? What have you achieved? What are you grateful for? What are you looking to do next? So exercise, fuel, write, and then read to learn. Now, people will say, I haven't got time to read. Yes, you have. You just need to allocate time. Okay, I don't believe that you can't find 30 minutes every day to read a chapter of a book. But you need to be intentional about it. You need to schedule it, put it in your calendar so you've got that time, and then you can read and then you'll learn. I've read more books in the last year and 3 months than I'd read in the whole of my life put together. That's crazy. Think about what I would have been doing if I'd been learning and developing and growing at Jake's age. Where would you be now? Where would I be now? Well, we can't turn back the clock, but we can look to the future. And learning is how we're going to develop. And then the last thing Jake does every day is inspire. So Jake has an Instagram channel. It's JMT_lifehacker. And he puts a 1-minute video out every day, just as an inspiration. And it's about habit forming. Similar to me, I put a blog out on my website every day. I don't know if people read it or not, but it's there. What's it doing is it's inspiring me, apart from anything else. The same as Jake there. He's thinking, he's growing, he's adding. Now, I'm sure more people watch Jake's video than read my blog. But do you know what? One day, people will read it. The whole point is I'm putting things out there. I'm putting inspirational things out there, as Jake is doing. Are you doing that? Are you inspiring others? Are you influencing others? You know, I talked earlier about how leadership is influence, and John says leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Well, it turns into something more, but it starts with influence. So that's Jake's Daily 5. Exercise, fuel, write, read, and inspire. What do you do every day? How do you learn? How do you grow? How do you influence people? What are you doing to become the best version of yourself? Something to think about, right? I mean, in this book as well, John talks about problems being opportunities for learning, and they are. You know, but how many people see problems as exactly that, problems? You know, people overestimate the problem or they underestimate the problem. They effectively hide from it. You know, as a human race, we tend to exaggerate things. But if we do that with problems, we're letting them defeat us before we even try. The other true thing is the problem won't solve itself. Right? It's no good being like the little kids that are playing hide and seek and they go, oh, you can't see me because I can't see you. Guess what? The problem's still there when you open your eyes. It won't go away. And if you ignore it, to be honest, it usually gets bigger. And the bigger it is, the harder it is to overcome. So tackle it head on. You know, I'd ask my cast in my roles at Disney not to bring me problems, bring me solutions. Now, by that, I wasn't saying that there are no problems. What I'm saying is that, yes, you know there's a problem, so what can we do about it? What that effectively is doing is encouraging them to take ownership for that situation. And when people take ownership, they take responsibility. When they take responsibility, they generally achieve something. And they get satisfaction and pride in achieving that. And then they'll want more. It's great. So bring us solutions, not problems. The other thing that can help with that is effective planning. So when you're planning something, planning a process, planning a task, it doesn't matter what it is. Try and think about what potential obstacles could come up. And if you can do that, then you can overcome them before they arise. Okay, so I'd call it shooting holes in the plan. So we'd get a plan, we'd sit down and we'd look at it and go, okay, so what could go wrong with that? And think of all the things that could go wrong. Then, what are the solutions? Does that mean that we need to change the plan now to avoid that being a problem? Or if it comes up, have we got a plan B that we can still move forward? The key thing is still moving forward to your objective, your destination. Not if you come up against an obstacle, don't go off over here or over here, looking for another destination that's easier to get to. So plan for potential obstacles and overcome them before you get there. And the other big thing that we can learn from in problems is communication. Okay, making sure that everybody understands what it is we're trying to achieve, why we're trying to achieve it, what the plan is, and then how we're going to get there. What's their responsibility? What's their actions? How can they help each other? And then have regular meetings and regular reviews, not just for the sake of it. I really hate meetings for the sake of meetings. But have a review. Have somewhere where you can jot down, what are we learning? Again, that reflection. So it's just an update. What's going well? What's not going so well? How can we keep improving it? So just some thoughts, hopefully to inspire you and motivate you to keep learning and to keep growing. If you learn every day, you'll grow every day. If you grow every day and you're intentional about it, you'll live a life of freedom. So again, put in the comments anything you've got, any questions, feel free to put them in there. Jake will see this later as well. If Jake's got any answers for you, put it in. And if not, we'll see you next week and look forward to inspiring you some more. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.